If anybody who has never seen the Neil Breen movie listened to us describe that, they would say, guys, if I could compare this to a meal, it sounds like all you're describing is kind of a dry piece of chicken, kind of mushy mashed potatoes, and maybe slightly stale broccoli. Like, it's not the greatest meal I've ever heard, but it's like, not the end of the world. And I say, well, you have not seen the movie. No. Imagine if I served that to you, but then when I put it on the table, I took a big shit and piss on it and then barked in your face. And I said, now eat it, you fuck. That is what we sat there.
Wow, John. I don't think you liked the movie. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh, my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, joined by my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
I don't even know where to begin. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
I'm scared too.
My pants are wet, and it's not urine or semen. I don't know what it is.
It's sweat because it's like, balls hot outside right now. But we're in episode 267 and continuing our long-running 5 horsemen now of the Breenpocalypse.
I love how you said that so solemnly, like where this is like.
Well, I mean,
we're talking about a dead colleague or something.
No, well, my pride. I'll never get those 2 hours back. That's who I'm mourning. I'm mourning the 2 hours that I devoted, although I was in good company. But yeah, we're in episode 267, and this week we are revisiting our old friend or nemesis. I really think there's a fine line between nemesis and friend.
Frenemy.
Frenemy. Yeah, we're visiting our old frenemy, Neil Breen, with his 5th opus, if you want to call it that, Twisted Pair. Now, we had thought that this was going to be the last entry into the Breenpocalypse, but leave it to the devil, Satan or Beelzebub, or just, I don't know.
Jeff Bezos,
Elon Musk, Lex Luthor, if you will, that he has another movie coming. Or out. I don't know is it out yet? Do we know if Cade,
I think he's filming it. Yeah, this movie ends.
No, I think he filmed it already. I think he's screening it now.
Oh, God. All right. Well, this movie ends like one of the Sean Connery era James Bonds, like James Bond will return in Thunderball. And
also the Marvel films do the same thing, too.
Yeah. And in this one, it's like Neil Breen's stupid ass character,
Cade Altair,
Quate Kumquat will come back or something, whatever.
First of all, I got to ask the question. Did anyone want Cade Altair to return? Like,
well, you know what this means? This means he thought this was his like greatest achievement, and like he has to make a sequel to it because it's so great.
The Breen CU, his BCU, Breen CU. Yeah, but there's apparently another movie that we're gonna have to watch because there is no God. Called Cade the Tortured Traveler, which I'm assuming picks up where this one leaves off. But yeah, this one's
going to be just like every other one of his movies.
I would say that I'm surprised he's not an android in this one, but he kind of is.
Kind of, sort of, maybe.
And there was no magic rock in this one. You know what character I really would like to see come back?
Who's that?
From the Breen CU, if you will. It's Aaron Brand from Double Down.
Was that his?
That was his character.
Lady?
No, that was his character.
No. Oh, okay. Aaron with an AA.
Aaron, the hacker. Yeah. Ex-military.
The closest thing to an actual human being.
Yeah, he is the closest thing. But the actor who had the magic rock and ate the tuna and all the laptops and cell phones don't work. I would love to see Aaron Brand come back Or maybe, you know, Breen, since you're a master now at visual effects off of this one, maybe you could do a multiverse film where all of the psychopathic characters that you play are in one film.
Multiverse of Breenness. Yeah.
Multiverse of Breenness, or just multiverse of madness is what
I don't think that many keyboards could exist though in one frame.
Oh, I mean, there could be all the keyboards. He just needs one that he could then put in front of a green screen and copy paste. Like he knows what he's doing. Clearly, we saw an expert of visual effects on display in this one.
Well, you know how Kevin Smith, like in his extended universe, will have like Ben Affleck plays two different people and himself. Like, I just think that like Neil Breen should have all of his like versions of himself, and all just played by Neil. So there's like 7 or 8 Neils on screen at one time.
He's doing all of the work of the crew. So you know how I know that? Because the credits quite literally say anyone listed with B and N is really Neil Breen.
Well, yeah, because it says like written by Neil Breen, directed by Neil Breen, produced by Neil Breen. And then I thought, because I knew I saw it through his Da Vinci Code. Like I saw it through his Da Vinci. You know, it's like, NB Productions, NB Catering. I'm like, oh, look, he's actually being subtle enough to like not throw it in our face that he does literally everything on these projects. But no, during the end credits, he has to assuage his own ego, and it says anything that says NB is part of a Neil Breen LLC.
Well, have you ever seen him like do an interview ever?
Oh God, he does interviews.
He's done interviews at films that he's screened, and I was watching one where he quite literally, like, I think he even said like, I don't want to say like that I do everything, but he does everything. And he like wouldn't let the host get a word in edgewise. He had to say that all of my films are produced by me, they're raised money by me, they're done by the. It's like, okay, dude, we get it. You do everything.
That's the problem.
You know, some would say that George Lucas kind of doing everything was a problem with Star Wars, or at least the prequels.
Well, see, because it's funny when you go back to New Hope. Like, I actually saw this like one of those quick YouTube video bites where a lot of the English crew was very stuffy, and George Lucas was used to being from film school and being like, hey, why don't we just like put up a light over there real quick? And then the DP would be like, that's not your job, son. You tell me, sonny boy, what you want it to look like, and then I'll make it happen. And it's like, wow, it's funny, But I mean, who the hell was he? He was some punk who made a car movie out of USC at the time. So
but that car movie like blew up, and that's how he got the money to make Star Wars. But my point is just that when you have one singular person doing everything, okay, and I really do believe this, that you have to delegate responsibilities on a film set, because when one person is doing everything, that means that all of the focus is split amongst all of those positions. Okay. Even greats like Kubrick, broke off things that they were doing and had other people doing other tasks because they wanted focus on certain things. The other thing too is there's only one Stanley Kubrick. Steven Spielberg gets a cinematographer that he really likes to do it. So I mean, it's this idea that you have to do everything. No one does that in the film industry.
It takes a village.
It really does.
You can get so narrowly focused on things that you can miss, the forest through the trees. Like, you hear, and I'm sorry to use another Star Wars example, but in Empire Strikes Back, when Leia says "I love you" in the script, I think it was like "I love you too," but Harrison Ford's like, "Nah, Han Solo wouldn't say that. He'd say something like "I know," and so it's something an actor brought to the table. So there's any number of things. Like I remember the late great George Romero. You could be some guy in craft services and go, "Hey, George, I got a great idea for a scene," and you go, "Far out, man. What is it?" Like he would listen to anybody on set. And I think that's what killed M. Night Shyamalan was, Sixth Sense was a big hit, and Unbreakable was, it has its fans, but I think even by Signs, the guy was like the writer, producer, director, and he just had this stranglehold on the thing. It's like, no, I'm the great M. Night Shyamalan. I can't make any mistakes. And then we all know where his career went from there.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't listen to anyone else.
Although some people have said that his newest one is pretty good. I haven't seen it yet. The one with Dave Bautista in it.
It's whatever.
It's whatever.
It's not one of his bad ones, but it's not good.
You know what I love, John, is the fact that we're more than happy to talk about everything other than this fucking movie. So here's the thing. So John and I, we usually don't watch these together. The past couple times, actually, I think all of them. We haven't watched together. Right? Am I right?
Yeah. And Brian and I had beer, but we completely did it wrong. I had 3 beers. He had one.
You had 3 beers. I had 1.
And that's not nearly enough to get through a Neil Breen movie. We should have been completely hammered.
No, you're right. But the thing too is just like we never sit down and watch these together. And I told John, I'm like, listen, man, I don't know if I can stomach a solo watch of another Breen film and not gouge my eyeballs out. So for the safety of my eyeballs and my sanity, I told John, like, we gotta come over to your place and we'll watch this thing. So we had some Subway. You want to sponsor us? More than willing to take your money. And some beer. And we watched this fucking atrocity. Which that's the only way I can say it. This movie, I mean, I've seen some people that said like they enjoyed this. John, do you think that watching this movie together made it a more enjoyable experice?
Hell yes. Yeah, okay. I'll cut you off right there. Yeah. It would have been, if I was watching this at like 4 p.m. on like a Tuesday by myself, I think I don't know if I could have finished it. And the thing is, like, I love terrible movies by megalomaniacal psychopath directors like this, but this one, he's gone too far. That where I'm like, I can't.
You talk about him like he's a madman.
He is a madman. The thing is, like, I don't know if I can even laugh at him anymore. It's just such a burden to get through these movies. And so, Brian, or from our good friends at the always trustworthy Wikipedia, here is the synopsis.
Okay, tell me the synopsis, because I don't know if there's any way that we could, like, I don't know, talk about this in any other way.
Twisted Pair is a 2018 American science fiction psychological thriller, directed, produced, and scored, and edited, and written by Neil Breen. The film stars Neil Breen and a bunch of other people you don't care about. The film centers around identical twin brothers, Cade and Kale Salad Altar, who become...
You called it broccoli at one time when we were watching it. You're like, there's Cade and broccoli.
Yeah. Who become hybrid artificial intelligent entities who are torn in different directions to achieve justice for humanity.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, this movie, like just off the bat, like, I think when we first started, I was like, did it freeze up? Like, because we had a DVD of it, and we popped it in, and I'm like, did the movie just freeze? But no, this happens all the time. And this is the first thing I want to pick at this movie about. It does this thing where scenes in the movie go to stills abruptly. Like,
well, he's an artist, Brian.
Well, no, he's not. He's a hack fraud. He's a hack fraud who is not getting any better. Okay, he's actually getting worse. Okay, like I could stomach watching Double Down. I couldn't stomach this fucking thing. But yeah, he does this thing where he will go into stills for no reason whatsoever. Okay, and it drove me nuts. John, did it drive you nuts too? Because I thought the disc was broken. Like, I thought, like, you should break the disc.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because, we're watching these on discs, and I'm watching it on a 7-year-old PS4. I'm not sure. I think it's around there. So, yeah, you think, like, oh, man, is it the system? Is it the disc? Is it live or is it Memorex? You don't know. But, yeah, it's like, but no, it's just a creative, and I use that with air quotes that you can't see, decision. And the funny thing is that, like, people go, oh, well, maybe he's aware of himself and he's doing that. Like, no, there's a big difference, because Brian, you mentioned that he's getting worse.
He is.
Look at Birdemic and Birdemic 2. Birdemic 2 is no fun because the filmmaker realized all of the problems people have with it. And so he leaned into it. And it's like, oh, he's aware of it. And this isn't any fun. But Neil Breen has never, ever been aware of it. He thinks he's getting better.
He's the anti-Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
Whereas Tommy Wiseau now is completely in on the joke. Completely in on the joke about The Room. And Neil Breen legitimately believes that he is making good movies. And I've said this before, but he always says that he is a successful filmmaker. And I reluctantly agree with him. Because the man, for better or worse, and for more or less with Neil Breen, it's worse. He is successful. He sells out crowds. His movies play in theaters. And in theaters, I mean ones that he books. But it's one of those things that I don't know if he understands that people are laughing at him.
Well,
they're laughing with him.
There's being a success does not always mean a great thing. Like Mark David Chapman, the guy that shot John Lennon, is successful at being famous, but because he murdered a genius. Like, great job, idiot. Like, success doesn't always mean that's not always a good thing.
No, but I don't know if he understands that he's the joke, right?
Yeah, and I think that we should, for people that are listening to this one who haven't listened to our other Neil Breen episodes, I think we should describe Neil as we have before.
Yeah.
And I guess the best way to describe is he's this bizarre, homeless-looking psychopath alien who barely has a grasp on language, not just the English language, but language in general.
Yeah.
So he's this homeless alien who came down, doesn't understand how our words work, somehow came across a bundle of money. And
I think he was a realtor. Like, he sold houses. So I think
no, he was an alien.
Oh, okay. I mean, I will buy that he's an alien. I wholeheartedly think that the man is not human. But that's just because I've watched his films.
And I don't know, because I haven't done this level of research, Brian, but has anybody ever returned from any of his other movies to be in?
Well, you had tried to get in touch with someone who worked on them, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And she got really weird real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it was somebody that he worked with in realty. That's how I found her. I just called her her realty number, and she picked up, and I was like, hey, I don't mean to be weird, but were you in Double Down or what, Faithful Findings? And she's like, yes.
That's not a good sign, and that's not a good sign for Neil Breen being a human being.
Yeah.
But getting back to this movie. Okay, getting back to this movie. I'm going to try to parse this plot. Okay.
Good luck.
I'm going to try. Well, I'm going to use Wikipedia. Okay. This is one of the only times that you'll actually catch me reading the Wikipedia and then talking about it. Okay, so...
And dear listeners, you have to understand, there's no choice, because
I have no choice.
This movie almost seemed like it was an incoherent movie to begin with, and then all the scenes were put into a randomized generator.
Yeah.
So we got scene 27, 5, 19, 4. It makes no sense whatsoever.
There were so many times, John, that we were watching this, and I turned to you, and I'm just like, what the fuck just happened? I'm like, what? I think I literally screamed at the screen one time, what? Because I don't know what the fuck was going on. So the only way that I really can try to communicate this movie to you all is to kind of rely on Wikipedia. So thank you, Wikipedia, or whoever put this article together. But I'm gonna try to go piece by piece in this, and we'll talk about each piece. So, all right. So the movie starts off that during the youth, Cade and his identical twin brother Kale, also known as Broccolini, were abducted by an unknown power and modified to become humanoids.
Thanks,
secret agents who are out to stop evil. So this part right here, we open up with Cade and Broccolini as children eating hot dogs, also known as the greatest stock footage ever.
And hanging out on the beach. I feel bad for whoever these kids are, because I don't even know if this was ever intended to be stock footage in the first place, but it's just
it was absolutely stock footage.
But
It was absolutely.
I mean, does stock footage always start as stock footage, or does it become stock footage?
Well, it depends.
Like, here's my kids on the beach. Here's some stock footage. Give me money. You know?
More than likely, that's it. Yeah, it's like the parents probably were like, hey, I want to make some money off of this, and maybe it gets in a Neil Breen movie, and I'll catch some money off of that. But so these adorable children, which don't get me wrong, they're adorable kids, eating hot dogs. And it's so off-putting because the voiceover under it is Neil Breen talking about how he loved his brother Broccolini, also known as Kale. I'm just going to refer to him as Broccolini. And that they were always inseparable. There's a shot of them on the beach, and then they get abducted by space aliens, God, androids. And they say
space alien androids, yeah.
Yeah, that they're modified. Like they don't exactly tell you what they're doing, but a lot of it is like just taking futuristic words and mashing them together. Like that's what this movie does whenever they talk about technology. And they do it in the first couple minutes of this movie where they're just like, yes, humanoid, programmable, AI, virtual reality, technology, like just imagine just taking all those words and making it a word salad. It's literally what he's talking about.
It's like if you're doing a Mad Libs and had a stroke.
Yes. Yeah. So they grow up and Cade kind of becomes like a secret agent / humanoid weapon that tries to save soldiers. And this scene is hilarious. So he jumps up to a building, flies up there, which he does. That's his secret power, by the way. Okay. He can do like Spider-Man flies. Okay. Flies up to a building. And because Neil Breen couldn't get like real actors in Halloween costumes as soldiers, which like, I'm gonna be honest with John, if it were me directing this thing, which I would never direct this, but if I was doing it, I would just get some like people in some like green outfits and say, you're a soldier, go ahead. And get them like plastic guns. Not going to cost a lot. But no, Neil Breen, he springs for the full extras in the VFX suite and has a still shot of a soldier while he's walking around. Like the soldier's not moving because it's a picture. And Neil Breen's walking around with explosions. And when I'm talking about explosions, I'm talking about quite literally, think of Duke Nukem Time to Kill Genesis level, or that would be PlayStation level explosions.
It's like day one of learning like a Mirage or an After Effects or any other special effects.
It's not even After Effects.
Yeah,
not even After Effects. This is called, I found a stock footage of an explosion. It was terrible, so I just laid it in, and that's it.
And I think I do this every Neil Breen episode, so I apologize if you're listening to these on a loop. But this, of course, reminds me of the episode of the Nickelodeon show Doug, where he had his Quail Man character, and he brought his buddy Skeeter in, who created Silver Skeeter. But the thing is, like, he couldn't convince Skeeter that Silver Skeeter can't have every power, or else there's no drama. But Skeeter like didn't understand it, and that's exactly what Neil Breen is. Where it's like, so is he a cyborg, an alien, or
know.
God? And he goes, yes. And he's AI, and he's got a big dick, and he's a ninjutsu expert. It's like, oh, so he's just everything. He's all of your interests in one. Because you have this like Napoleon complex for some reason.
Yeah. So Kale, Broccolini, apparently didn't fit in with the program and was fired. That part I didn't know. Like, honestly, I don't remember that. I just remember he left. Yeah. So Broccolini left, and Caden, as an adult, is introduced on a mission where he is protecting troops, which I just mentioned. He returns to headquarters, which, by the way, we got to talk about where headquarters is. So headquarters is, quite honestly, a community college in Nevada.
It's a community college in Nevada plus the third floor of his realty business.
You think so?
Well, like the one woman who was in the office goes, "Good job, Cade. You did good." I think it's got to be his realty, or like you said, maybe it's a couple of like empty offices of the community
I
college.
think honestly, like he talked to whoever was the facilities director of the community college in Nevada and just said, "Hey, here's a bunch of money that I got off of GoFundMe. Can you please rent me the college for the evening?"
Yeah.
I think they shot this thing in probably like one night.
Well, I shot a music video for a lady that was I can't remember what college we were even at now, but they had test courtroom scenes where lawyers to be can like do have mock trials, and she was doing a music video where she needed a courtroom, and we just rented that out for the night, and 8 hours we just shot this bitch and got it done.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just here's my problem with this, and this is something that I think every filmmaker should know. There's nothing wrong with using locations you have access to, but there's this thing called production design. Okay? And production design is just trying to take that location and making it look like the thing in your movie. Now, Mr. Breen here is doing a science fiction psychological thriller. So knowing that means that there's a lot of things on the production design side that you should probably try to do, right? That will make it convincing to the audience. But I don't think he cares. I think he just is going to go with suspension of disbelief as the excuse. But either way, it's a fucking community college that he's shooting at. So once he gets back to headquarters, he meets with his boss, who suggests he takes a vacation. I love this scene because he's just like taking out 5 guns. And
he's so cool.
He's just laying them on the table like, yeah, I've got 5 guns and a gun holster.
Yeah, at least he didn't whip out his 15-inch cock,
Really? You think it's 15 inches?
Well, Neil thinks it is.
Well, Neil thinks it is. Whatever. Also at the same time, you get this bizarre boardroom scene. You remember this bizarre boardroom scene where they're like talking, like it's, I don't know, like the boss is there. And this is kind of where you're talking about, like the scenes are jumbled together, because I distinctly remember this happening like early on, where the boss is there and they're all talking about programmable AI, virtual reality, being able to program your DNA and all sorts of shit. Like, it's a terribly acted. It's also one of the only scenes where Neil's not in it.
No, I wouldn't even say it's terribly acted, because I've seen terrible acting. We all have 1,000 times over. It didn't seem like these people were it seemed like they were hostages, or this was like some kind of AI, because the way they would speak, and I'm not even trying to be cruel here, dear audience, when they would go, programmable AI. The future is cybernetics. And it was like, I'm like, what is happening? Are these robots? I know. No human being ever
it's
talked
called
like this.
It's called here's what happened. Okay. And Neil Breen, if you ever listen to this episode, which I doubt you will, but if you do, okay, let me know if this early happened. Okay. Did you give them the script and had those words on there, and you said, read these words verbatim? Okay. Because I guarantee you that's what happened. I guarantee it was just like, read the words as I wrote them on the script. Don't deviate.
Well, of course they can't deviate. I mean, this is the closest thing to like human consciousness going to another level. So you can't deviate from those words.
But yeah, so this scene is extremely terribly acted, and like it's one of the only ones where he's not in it. But while he's back talking with the boss, he laments that he hasn't seen his brother Broccolini before he became a humanoid.
Oh, poor Lima Bean.
Yeah. So, catching up with Broccolini, he meets with a lawyer, an executive, and the president of the bank, and interrogates them for a while before he shoots one of them in the legs and leaves to do pills with his girlfriend, Donna. Let's talk about that, John, the interrogation scene.
Now, I'm confused. Was the interrogation scene good Neil or bad Neil?
Oh, that's bad Neil.
Okay.
That's Kale. Broccolini.
Okay. Yeah. So Lima Bean shoots a couple of bank officers, which I could just see good guy Neil doing in any of his movies.
Well, that's the thing is I think like Kale is supposed to be bad, but at the same time, he's still like doing vigilante justice.
Yeah.
He just doesn't have a boss, right? Like he's not like killing random strangers. He's specifically targeting a lawyer, an executive, and the president of a bank who are all saying how they've done horrible things as he's torturing them.
Well,
so it's like,
yeah,
Neil can't write a bad character for himself.
There was just true. There was a character on Saturday Night Live, like a weekend update thing, like the girl you shouldn't have started a conversation with at a party.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that is absolute 100% Neil Breen. Like, you know, you run into this guy at like a cocktail party and you're like, oh man, how about these hors d'oeuvres, huh? And he's had about like 6 mojitos and he goes, the banks and the government and AI. And you're like, oh fuck, I'm stuck talking to this psychopath. But instead of bothering people like that, Neil just turns it into movies. But
yeah,
Neil seems like a very dangerous human being.
He just doesn't seem stable.
Yeah,
because as I said, like every person that he tortures in these movies or kills, like are always lawyers,
bankers,
executives, bankers, politicians. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a friend of any of them at all. Okay. But I'm also not the one who's taking them on film and saying like, oh yes, let me have a scene, multiple scenes, if you will, where I have them strung up and I'm shooting them in the dick.
Yeah,
because let's be honest here. He did.
You're not creating smut porn.
No, I'm not.
Of torturing people.
No. I mean, to be fair, like, let's be honest here. Neil is not talented enough to make real smut porn. Okay. This is like you went to Spirit Halloween and you got some chains and some fake blood and a shower backdrop and decided this is going to be a torture scene. Like that's the extent we're going here. Again, no production design.
No.
So while all this is going on, Cade's boss tells him about a programmable virtual reality and how a man named Kuzk, that's the name, Kuzk, is going to use it to conduct the biggest cyber and terror attack ever.
Is that Diamond Man?
That's Diamond Man. Okay. Yes, Diamond Man. Cade decides to investigate, but while investigating around town, he bumps into Alana. And this scene,
oh my god.
Oh man. This scene
I don't
here,
even know if I'm comfortable describing this.
I mean, we have to describe it, but I mean, this scene really is fucked up. Okay.
Okay. So let me see if I got this.
Okay.
So he's walking around the same shot he uses for a restaurant, a university, a business compound.
Well, no, there's no university, John. That's right. That's the campus.
But it's like 19 different different places at once.
Never in daytime. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm. But he's walking by and he bumps into this woman and he just like is like, oh my god, like he's freaking out like he had just poured hot coffee in her eyes. Meanwhile, she only dropped like 3 pieces of paper, and he's just insisting on helping her pick it up, and that he should make it up to her by taking her out to dinner.
It's almost like her double chromosomes, her double X chromosomes were cooties to him. Oh!
And she's like, for the love of God, please leave me alone. Stop trying to help me. I'm not interested. Get out of my face. Like, I hate you.
He's just like, oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, let me pick that up for you. Oh, hey, by the way, let's go out for a cup of coffee. How about dinner? How about back to your place? And he does this over the span of, no joke, about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he yells to her, I'll pick you up at 8.
Yes.
Meanwhile, after this woman said, please leave me alone, you crazy psychopath. I want nothing to do with you. I hate you. Just never speak to me again.
Never speak to me again.
And he comes by and she wasn't there at 8. So he starts
he talks
her.
to the homeless guy who's just sitting there like, dude, you don't pay me enough to be here. Yeah. And he's just like, women, right? I guess I'll see her at 8 o'clock. He's like, no, you won't.
But he starts like stalking her. And
oh, yeah.
And then he breaks into her home and begins to what we think is raping her.
John, I literally was screaming at your TV going, what the fuck is going on? Because like he says, how dare she leave? How dare she stand me up? Whore, bitch. Yeah. And then like, yeah, as you said, they're fighting on the couch of this woman's house. She takes like a picture, smashes it over his head, and then in the middle of what we think is going to be a full-on rape and would have made me turn off the movie right there and then, they stop laughing and they start laughing and kissing because they've been in a relationship the whole time. What person writes that, John?
You know,
like someone had to think up the actions that lead to that scene.
There have been like romantic thrillers where some guy like comes in the back door and comes up behind a woman, like turns her around and she goes, "Oh, it's you." And then
like
they
Time Cop.
Yeah, they lay on like a big smooch or something. Nice Time Cop reference, by the way.
I mean, if I can pull a Time Cop reference, I will.
But not to the extent that this movie did, where it's clearly, I guess, his woman has some kind of rape fetish in this movie.
I don't know. I have no clue, but I know I was really just off put by that whole sequence. And if I was making a movie and for whatever reason had that in there and I'm in the edit bay watching it, I would cut that because one, it makes me not like Cade at all.
Like there was any way you could like him less.
No,
but
no, but he's supposed to be the protagonist, right? Like he's supposed to be the guy we're rooting for. Kale's the bad guy. And this Kuz guy. But like the whole time that whole sequence is happening, I'm just like, dude, I am not rooting this for this motherfucker. And on top of that, this is disturbing as fuck.
Well, you could tell too that this scene, like I'm sure Neil said had to be done exactly to his specs because it's 80 yard. So Neil stood in a booth and went, "Stop struggling, bitch. You're mine, slut." You know, and he recorded these lines over top of this action, and it's just, oh God.
It's
anything that makes a Clockwork Orange rape scene like look tame is not a good sign.
Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, that Clockwork Orange rape scene is pretty insane. It's still hard to watch.
Yeah.
All right. So after the rape fetish scene, Cade breaks into Kuz's lab to find some clues for his mission. And he finds 4 guys wearing VR goggles who are in some kind of trance. And in the next room, a very old person dressed like Kuz is meeting with people. I honestly, I don't even remember that part.
I do. And I just remember being utterly baffled on what was happening. I think this guy gets a bunch of images in his head that he wants to see. And somebody goes, "Well, what's the plot?" And he goes, "Doesn't matter. We'll figure it out in post." You know?
Yeah. I don't.
Because none of this makes any sense.
No. I mean, I remember bits and pieces of that, but it's just, there's so much junk in this movie.
It's so hot. Yeah. It's like being shown 100 images in 100 seconds and say, how many do you remember? I saw Ronald McDonald. I saw George Washington. That's what it is, trying to remember this movie.
Yeah. So the men apparently disappear due to programmable virtual reality. And Cade reports back to his boss about the whole incident. Also this time, Cade takes Alana, his girlfriend, out to dinner. And a mysterious man stabs Cade's homeless friend, taking his cell phone. We never really find out who the mysterious man is, do we?
No,
because it's just
why would we need
legs.
to know?
It's just legs. But yeah, by the way, the restaurant, the fancy dinner, is the same university.
I guarantee it's a local like small cafe on campus, and it's like the outdoor seating of that.
Yeah. Well, what I find hilarious, and I told you this when we were watching this, I was like, he says, I've rented out the whole restaurant. And it's like, no, Neil, you haven't rented out the whole restaurant. It's called, you're shooting this thing at 2:00 in the morning and you couldn't pay for extras.
And what restaurant is going to take that fucking nosedive of business? Like
No one.
Is he supposed to like be paying for their normal daily numbers that they would pull in that day?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, he apparently is loaded to where he can rent out the whole restaurant. Whole thing.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while all this is going down, Broccolini, Kale, tracks down and murders a rich executive because we needed that.
How is that any different than any other Neil Breen character in any Neil Breen film? I don't understand how he's the bad guy. Neil does this in every movie.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. He can't write himself as a villain. He just can't. But my favorite is this, that he kills this guy and the police show up but find no evidence because Kale picked up the shell casings. What?
Yeah, that's the only evidence. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no other evidence ever in a crime scene, only shell casings. Future criminals, just if you happen to be listening, all you got to worry about are the shell casings if you ever commit a crime. Because apparently no other evidence exists. No cameras, no nothing. No nothing. It's just shell casing. But
I will say this. I've been watching like a lot of these documentaries on
true crimes.
Of like 70s serial killers and everything. And the only reason that any of these guys are ever caught is either they stupidly fuck up or somebody comes forward that they didn't kill and explains to them. And like, otherwise these cops were fucking helpless. Because there was no DNA, there was no cameras. It's just like you could just murder at will in the 70s. So
yeah. But apparently, Broccolini was not crafty enough because even though he picked up the shell casings, he did drop a syringe. Dun dun dun.
And semen. There was semen.
And semen. There probably was semen there. Because apparently him and his girlfriend, Donna, are pillheads and drug addicts. Yeah.
I love that Neil Breen clearly saw like 80s after school specials with a head injury of what taking drugs is all about. It's like it's two people sitting in like a dark room on a bed going, "Those are my pills, bitch. They're mine, you fuck. No, that's my cocaine."
Well, during that scene, he like smacks her across the face.
Yeah, you could tell that she kind of like pulls her smack, and then like he
hits her
once.
Back. He didn't pull a shit.
No, he doesn't like he holds it back once, and you can kind of like get that look in his lifeless eyes that he knows he didn't really land it, and he just bam.
And then has to add a cartoon sound effect to go with it because but why not?
Yeah.
So yeah, after that happens, Cade decides that to infiltrate Kuzca's empire, he's going to pretend.
Oh, that's what's happening?
Okay. Yeah, that's apparently what's happening. Cade pretends to be a rich investor to give money to the Kuzk empire, which he gets a tour of Kuzca's house. Now, this scene is where we're introduced to Kuzk, and this man is as much of an alien as Neil Breen is.
Yeah, it looked like Paul Schaefer from the Dave Letterman show.
Yes.
Meets like an enema from
Liberace.
Yeah.
I was going to say Liberace mixed with Paul Schaefer, makes a little bits of Elton John. A little bit of Elton John too. And because he's walking around, I'm not kidding you when I tell you this, listeners. He's walking around with a giant margarita glass filled with diamonds.
Because he's evil.
And on top of that, he has some like pixie imp that just appears, like some sexy pixie imp girl that just appears for no reason. Like,
We're never given this movie. I was like, what the fuck has happened here? Because even though the movie is mind-bogglingly stupid, doesn't make any sense. Like, other than, Lima Bean and Quado, Quado, yeah. Like all of the characters are essentially based in reality, but here's this guy and like his scarf's changing colors and his outfit's changing colors, and he has
even at
this,
one point
like,
the actor
gypsy-
changes. I didn't really think the actor changed because
that's because the guy probably couldn't be there.
Yeah, but he was like, he got older, and they're like, well, just dress him up in Goose's outfit, there you go. No one will know the difference.
But this guy, his best friend is fucking Tinkerbell.
Yeah,
Like, what the fuck? Like, I think whatever grasp Neil had on reality, like a elephant holding on to the edge of a cliff with its tail tied to a daisy, that daisy ripped. It's gone.
All right. So after this happens, Donna, Broccolini's pillhead girlfriend, breaks up with him because, she didn't want to get smacked over crack cocaine anymore.
Well, he ran out of meth.
He ran out of meth. And she runs into Cade, demanding to know where she can get more drugs and why he had shaved his beard. And Cade responds by going, I never had a beard, repeatedly. And he gives the girl some money to find a place to stay, and they hug. Alana apparently sees this and gets jealous. Now, I didn't read any jealousy at all out of this scene.
Well, there has to be emotions to feel something.
I mean, I get what he's doing, but that would require acting and directing the actors to get the emotion, and that's not there.
Directing?
Directing?
You mean running the camera and saying, read the lines, right? That's what directing is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I love this part here because in one sentence, this Wikipedia article has in essence condensed down what I believe is about 20 to 30 minutes of the film. So Cade then decides to take down the Kuzk Empire and goes into the boiler room to enact his plan. After his empire is destroyed, Kuzk flees the country. Now, that sentence there really doesn't give this sequence justice, because what we see here is Spider Breen jumping, flying, hanging off of pipes, and causing all manner of explosions.
While, like, DOS paint explosions go off.
Yes, the very same Duke Nukem Time to Kill explosions going off. And here's the thing. If you're thinking that these explosions are, like, I don't know, part of the environment or like composite, and they aren't. It's literally the equivalency of taking a sticker and sticking it on the film and saying, there's the explosion. There's even a couple times where like Breen is in the explosion and he walks away, no problem.
Oh yeah. And I love that Neil's such a dipshit that he was just like handed like some sound effects for explosions and didn't realize that like explosions sounds don't just stop instantly. Yeah. So he just goes, pow, 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 and that would be the explosion sounds. So. Yeah.
Yeah. But I find it hilarious. This single sentence in this breakdown of it is it's 20 to 30 minutes. Oh shit. So after the Spider Breen sequence, we get Cade decides he's gonna go home, and Alana pulls a gun on him as she was working for Kuzk the whole time. Dun dun dun.
Dun bum bum.
Didn't see that one coming at all. Yeah, and like they don't mention this in this breakdown, but like I know there was a scene where Cade is like yelling at some agent, saying like, "Why did you?" Like he knew that Alana was doing this shit, and he's yelling at some agent, and he didn't kill him, did he?
I don't.
Do you remember that? He's on the steps of the. I know that. I'm trying to put you on. I'm putting you on the spot, but like I'm pretty sure he didn't kill him. He was just yelling at him. Well, he might have. I think in my head he might have just been like, "I'm going to kill him." But yeah, he was yelling at some agent because clearly, Alana was, a double agent, that sort of shit for the Kuzk Empire. But yeah, the shootout we get is they shoot each other Alana dies in his arms, but like, because Cade is immortal humanoid robot god, he feels no pain in this, has no injuries, which I mean, my thought process on that is like, Alana should know this, right?
Maybe,
like,
sort of.
Don't you think like your girlfriend would know if you were a humanoid android robot god who can't be killed?
Well, more important, the actress probably doesn't know this. She's like, what are we shooting? What's happening? I'm scared. I'm confused.
But I mean, that's my only thought is like, wouldn't this woman know, since she works at the same place that Cade does, that, I don't know, he can't be killed by weapons? Wouldn't you know that? So why would you pull a gun on him?
Well, that's the only mistake this movie made.
Oh, yes. That clearly is it. The logic there is really
otherwise masterpiece.
Oh, yes.
Makes Citizen Kane look like a piece of shit.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, Alana dies in his arms. And in the virtual reality forest, Cade and Alana reunite. They embrace, and Alana tells him she loves him and then disappears.
Yeah, that was baffling, where it's like, I love you. No, we can't be together.
Well, listen. Every Neil Breen film has had this sort of scene. Everyone, where like Double Down had this, where his wife got shot by an assassin, and like in the desert, he's with her. Okay, I'm pretty sure Fateful Findings did a similar thing too. It's always like the beautiful girl that you have that dies suddenly and yet is still there in your mind's eye crap.
Yeah, for this man who is perennial 54 years old. So I'm thinking maybe he is a vampire. Like this megalomaniacal psychopath with his beautiful 29-year-old co-star. It's like, dude, come on.
Unless you're made out of money, man.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, he's a successful filmmaker, John. He could be rolling in women.
That's why these women want to be with me in these movies, because I'm a CIA cyborg alien god expert computer man.
Computer man.
I'm the lawnmower man.
Yeah. The film ends with Cade addressing the audience, accepting the loss of Alana, and stating that humanity will eventually live in a virtual universe.
Cool.
Yeah. Which I don't know if that's the message that you want to hit with, because like, wasn't the whole thing with Kuzk supposed to be like he's going to do a terror attack with programmable virtual reality, and he's saying at the end of the movie that we're all going to be living in a virtual universe?
Yeah, we didn't learn anything.
We didn't learn shit.
Yeah.
We didn't learn shit.
Zordon and Brussels sprout will be back.
Well, yes. Yeah. The movie ends with Cade Altair, not Kale, will return, because again, we have to have an MCU, or excuse me, Breen CU teaser.
You know, if anybody who has never seen the Neil Breen movie listened to us describe that, they would say, guys, if I could compare this to a meal, it sounds like all you're describing is kind of a dry piece of chicken, kind of mushy mashed potatoes, and maybe slightly stale broccoli. Like, it's not the greatest meal I've ever heard, but it's like, not the end of the world. And I say, well, you have not seen the movie. No. Imagine if I served that to you, but then when I put it on the table, I took a big shit and piss on it and then barked in your face. And I said, now eat it, you fuck. That is what we sat there.
Wow, John. I don't think you like the movie. Is that what you're saying?
I used to kind of love this guy. Like the first time we watched, I'm like, oh man, this guy's like Tommy was this is so funny. This is so fun. And now
there's no fun.
Every subsequent movie I watch with them, I'm like, I hate this.
I think even your girlfriend was like, why are you watching these movies?
Yeah. Well, yeah. She was sitting on the couch. She's like, Like, why did he even do that? Like, and in one particular scene, I said, I don't know why anything's happening.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that she was just like, this is my first time watching this. Why are you watching this? It's like, oh, man. We ask ourselves that same question every time we watch them. Why are you watching this? Even my wife has already said, she's like, you should just watch good movies. And I'm trying to tell her, I'm like, you don't understand. People like these bad movies. We appreciate bad movies. We have to watch them.
We can't have a segment of the show called Pantheon of Utter Shit and not talk about Neil Breen.
Yeah, I can't have a series of episodes called Breenpocalypse and not talk about Neil Breen. Okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. But I thought we were done with this. Apparently we're not. So now we got to go buy Cade the Tortured Crossing because apparently that is a movie. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about this movie. Have you seen the trailer for it?
No. Oh, God,
okay, I saw the trailer for this fucker.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw the trailer for this fucker. Now, you can clearly tell that this was shot during the pandemic. Okay? Because I'm not kidding you when I tell you this. Every single scene in this movie, at least judging by the trailer, is green screen.
Oh, instead of 60%, it's 95%?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
The whole thing is green screen. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't have any problem with green screen, but I do have a problem when it's every single scene. And I don't know if it is a scary movie. It has more of a darker tone compared to this one. But it's really not good. And I'm not looking forward to watching that one. Although apparently that one did have its world premiere at the Regal Cinemas in LA on February 25th.
Well, there you go. Well, it must be good then. But oh my God, Brian, could you imagine if he teamed with Tyler Perry and they did Medea 3, Medea's Halloween 3 with Neil Breen?
Oh man, you know what would be kind of cool, and I think I would pay to watch this, is if you had a Expendables movie, only with terrible directors. Like if you got Claudio Fragrazzo from Troll 2, Neil Breen, Tommy Wiseau,
the guy from Birdemic.
What's his name?
The guy from Samurai Cop.
Yes.
Get him in
yeah.
there.
Yeah. You got all of these people who make these terrible fucking movies in a single movie, and just like, I don't know, it'd be like them making a movie and everything going wrong, but they all think it's right. I think I might have discovered a hit right now.
I think it's like American Movie. Remember that documentary?
Yes. Yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying, like, that would be pretty genius. I take full credit for that one if that ever happens. Oh, shit. This fucking movie, man. Like, I'm glad that you and I got to watch it together, John, because I really don't believe that there was any way we would have been able to get through it. And God bless Wikipedia for having a summary.
Whoever was able to piece this movie together, you are a better man.
You are a saint, an absolute saint. Thank you, because there was no way, and I don't use Wikipedia any at all for when we do episodes.
Well, we don't normally need to if we're talking about like the Super Mario Brothers movie the other week or whatever. Like that movie, for better or worse, has a pretty like tight plot. You know?
A simple one, but yes, a tight plot.
A simple one, but a tight plot. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, man, like this fucking Neil Breen, can't stand it. And here's the funny thing. That movie was only 89 minutes long.
It felt like 6 hours.
It felt like 2.5 hours. Ugh.
And I say this all the time, like you could have, if you were a logical human being, cut at least 25 minutes out of that movie, but then it wouldn't be feature length. And then that doesn't.
It's very important to Neil that this be a feature length movie only shown in theaters with large audiences. And you might be saying, Brian, why are you talking that way? Are you having a stroke? No, this is the way the man talks.
Yes, it is. Yes.
I make feature-length movies talking about 90 to 120 minutes, only shown in theaters. These are not midnight movies. They are not bad movies. They are wholesome, good movies. Give me money to make more.
It's the greatest psychological thriller since The Net.
Oh, I'd watch The Net 1,000 times over this movie. Final thoughts, John, on this entry of the Breenpocalypse Twisted Pair.
I don't even know if I have any. It's just.
Are you speechless?
Maybe, because like this is just. I'm heading further and further down the rabbit hole of this man's madness and psychosis, and I'm worried that if he ends up doing something terrible, that I didn't speak up earlier.
Oh man,
because he seems like a head case.
I don't know about that. I just know that. This was. I'm glad that you and I got to watch together. Because that was the only way that we were going to get through this thing.
Yeah.
Together. Buddies for life.
Not Thunder Buddies, Breen Buddies.
Breen Buddies for life. It's like a support group.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Okay. I really believe that these movies you can really only enjoy with your friends. Do not, under any circumstances, watch these movies by yourself. John, you put it perfectly. It's like taking a shit and puking in your face when you're eating food. That's literally what this is. It's not an enjoyable experience. You will not have fun if you're watching it by yourself. And
if you somehow have every version of every Neil Breen movie ever, just watch his first one. Do not watch this.
Yeah. I mean,
watch Fateful Findings.
Listeners, please tell me if I'm wrong here, but Neil Breen's getting worse. He's not getting better. Because I really believe he's getting worse.
Worse and more dangerous.
I don't know about the more dangerous part. I just think the worst part. I've always said filmmakers tend to get better when they make more movies. I've told my students that. I've told every person I know about movies. I'm like, the first one might be kind of rough, but, the more they make them, the better they get. They learn things. This guy didn't learn shit.
Even if they suck, like, the first film's like a 3 out of 10, maybe the second one's a 3.1. Yeah. The next one's a 3.2. At least they're getting microscopic
better.
Yeah.
you're like the cobwebs are a little loose, and you kind of, know a little bit about how the camera works, and know a little bit about editing, and know a little bit about like what a story is. But I'm just seeing with Neil and with this particular fucking movie, Twisted Pair, it is getting far worse. It's sad when I see Double Down and Fateful Findings as more competently made movies than this one. Because those two were bad. Go back to our back catalog. I bitched about both of them. I still think I'm Here ... Now is terrible beyond compare.
I think this one was worse.
You think this one was worse?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, then. Good talk, John. We had a fun time today. John, where can they find you at on the internets?
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Feel free to reach out. I will reach back. And most importantly, you can find me over on the YouTubes at JDubs Video Nasties. It's a work in progress right now. But I am actually doing a deep dive on Dirty Harry and doing a check-in on fascism and
nice,
of the police force and everything. And I even have some notes in the script to throw in random like boings for boners or fart sounds, because I'm getting a little deep with this one, and I'm
a little too heady in it.
Yeah, I'm getting a little heady, so I got to randomly throw in farts.
That's You come for the farts, you stay for the serious film.
Yeah.
That's what should be what our slogan is. Come for the farts, stay for the criticism. You can find me in Neil Breen's virtual universe, or on Twitter at Brian Coddington. I also run the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Psycho Show. You can also find us on TikTok at Cinema Psycho Show. We also have a Discord channel. If you are interested in hanging out with us and talking about movies like Twisted Pair, or just you want to vent about Neil Breen, maybe you like him, maybe you hate him, maybe you need a support group like us, come hang out with us. Our Discord channel invite is in the show notes for this episode. If you have a question about a movie or you want to talk to us, you can also contact us through our website on email at cinemapsychoshow.com. And of course, follow us, listen to us wherever you get your audio, and we will see you next time.
Oh, thank God we'll never have to review another terrible film. What's that at the end of the post credits there?
Cade
Brian and John will be
return.
back with Jack and Jill. Oh, fuck.
Oh.